Welcome everyone to the Dr. Abs Healthcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Abasolo, aka Dr. Abs, and on today's show we have Dr. Lamise Hamdan, who is a believer in a healthier and organic lifestyle. She's a medical doctor that has launched several world-class beauty companies and is an international spokesperson for natural health and beauty. By training, Dr. Lamise is a medical doctor, but she has also extensively studied alternative therapies of Southeast Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. After a 2-year residency in dermatology in Dubai, Dr. Lamise left her medical career early to seek alternative scientific paths to healing than was offered or allowed by the medical community in the UAE. In 2017, feeling a definite shift within the medical community in accepting integrative ways in the path for health, Dr. Lamise re-entered the medical profession, and she is currently working as a doctor with the Ministry of Health in the UAE. Dr. Lamise is a serial entrepreneur as well, having founded and directed several beauty startups. In 2004, she launched her premier natural beauty company, Shifa, that integrates her holistic teachings into a line of natural skincare and body care products that is carried by Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, Violet Grey, and Sephora overseas. Dr. Lamise has also been featured on Oprah and Huda Katan's online blog with over 30 million followers and has appeared on morning talk shows with over 10 million viewers. I can't wait to talk to her about health and beauty, so let's get the interview started. Welcome, Dr. Lamise, to the Healthcast. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good, good. Great to have you all the way from Dubai. What time is it over there right now?
8 o'clock in the evening.
8 o'clock in the evening. So we're here at noon on the East Coast in the United States. So thank you so much for taking the time to hop on with me. So Doc, let's get right into it. You've launched several world-class beauty companies and you're an international spokesperson for natural health and beauty. So I want to make this Healthcast all about health and beauty, skin health, and how we could basically transform our skin naturally. So can you just discuss some practical approaches to a healthy lifestyle in your opinion?
I think that a healthy lifestyle is actually simpler than a lot of people think it is. Sometimes if we're listening to, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but the nutritionists and the exercise specialists and everyone, you would think that you really need a measuring scale to measure out your food and what macros you're eating to actually eat healthy. But it isn't. It's a lot of common sense. Basically, if you take this, and this is how I eat, by the way, personally.
Okay.
I have a plate, half of it has to be vegetables. And it has to be a melange of colors, like a rainbow. And don't forget the dark greens. The dark greens are very important. Like on a scale of 1 to 100, dark greens like kale, like collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens are at 100. Spinach is at about 80, I would say, just to give you an idea. So half of my plate is a rainbow of vegetables. A quarter is protein. And the other quarter is carbohydrates or whole grains. So either sweet potato or even quinoa. And sometimes, yes, I feel like white rice. Our culture eats a lot of white rice. Yeah. So yes, I will have the white rice. I will have the pasta. It really is simpler than you think. So that's how I eat for lunch and for dinner. And then I try and have 1 cup of berries a day. So if you can stick to that, you're 80% there. Yeah. For a healthy lifestyle.
So essentially you're condoning a whole foods natural diet, like obviously what you mentioned there, nothing's coming in a box,
yes,
paper bag, from the middle of the grocery store as we have it here in the United States. So you're basically eating the lean meats, the complex carbohydrates, low glycemic carbs, as well as all the fruits and vegetables.
Exactly. And can I just say that because I love shopping at Whole Foods, don't be taken in by the marketing where you think that just because it is organic or it's all natural, it means it's healthy. Again, like you said, if it's processed, if it had a lot of things done to it, whether it's organic or whether it's natural to begin with, it certainly isn't in the end. And, you know, the glycemic load becomes higher, the glycemic index becomes higher, it tends to spike. You know, organic sugar or refined sugar still spikes. You know, they both spike up your sugar, your blood sugar levels and insulin in response to that. So don't be taken in by, oh, I have to eat organic. Remember, although I have an organic skincare line and I believe in organics, I didn't mention anything about organic.
Got it. And as far as you mentioned a little bit about, you know, we make it complicated as far as exercise as well. What would you recommend as far as, like, you know, the baseline level of what we need to do on a daily basis as far as movement and activity and exercise?
Well, if something was going to be like the fountain of youth, I would say it's diet and exercise combined. But more and more, you know, we're doing proper studies now when it comes to natural living, and, you know, before none of that was studied. And they're beginning to see that people who live in blue zones, i.e. blue zones are the areas where they live the longest. You know, you have a blue zone in Japan, you have a blue zone in Italy, and one in Greece. They find that these people who live to be 100 and more and healthy, you know, they go out in the fields and they're still 80 years old. They have no problems with that. They find that they haven't been exercising. These aren't the people with personal trainers or gym memberships, but they're the ones who basically are just keeping active all the time. So, you know, they would walk to work half an hour, they walk half an hour, they go up the stairs, they don't take the elevator. So it really is about, when you talk about exercise, try and be as active as you can. Now, I lead a sedentary lifestyle because I'm on my computer, I am behind a desk. So I know I need to do that extra bit more when it comes to exercise. So 30 minutes a day of moderate intensity, I think, is good. And what do I mean by moderate intensity? A brisk walk, easy jogging, vacuuming is moderate intensity. So is gardening, bicycling, swimming. So if you can clock in 30 minutes, or, you know, if you're not doing it one day, do 1 hour the next day. So, you know, just keep it simple. Keep moving. That's the most important thing. Just keep moving, keep active, keep walking, keep taking care of yourself, i.e. when you bend over, when you squat down to pick something up, you're still using your muscles. And these are the muscles that you need when you're 80 or 90. You're not necessarily going to need huge biceps, because would you need it for?
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. I can't agree with you more. I think people, you know, make it so complicated, but at the end of the day, if you could just eat that whole foods, natural diet, you know, fill your plate up with all that quality food and just, you know, get a little exercise, get some movement in the day, it could go such a long way.
Yes.
You know,
These little changes can do 80% of what us doctors want you guys to achieve, or our patients to achieve when it comes to health. It is not that difficult, but you know, just turning on social media or any of the news channels, you think it's like near impossible, but it isn't.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit about skin, and gorgeous skin is what I want to speak about. So how can anybody listening right now in the audience, how could they have gorgeous skin at any age?
It is actually very easy. Because we were talking about food, let me talk about food first. Now, especially as you age, like I'm in my mid 40s, when you're 18, you can get by with eating a hamburger and probably it not showing on your face. However, 35 and up, that's when, if you weren't careful before, you'd better start being careful. Which means you want to start eating healthy, less processed foods. Look at the spikes in your sugar levels, because too much glucose in your system can cause a bad sort of cross-linking of the collagen fiber, which makes it less elastic and more rigid. So that's number one. Food is important. Then there are 3 simple steps. The first step is a good cleansing routine. If you wear makeup, you need to be cleansing twice at night, which means double cleansing.
Really? Okay.
One of the things about double cleansing is that people think they need two cleansers to do that. No, just use whatever cleanser you're using, and I hope it's a good cleanser. Just use it twice. I like using a muslin cloth, and they're very easy to get. I sell them in like packets of 3. You can get them at a children's shop, muslin squares, and use that instead of cotton rounds to take off your makeup and your cleanser, because it provides you just the right sort of exfoliation. That's a nice tip for everyone to have. Just have lots of these muslin cloths that you just throw in with your whites and wash and reuse and reuse and reuse. So good cleansing is really important. Cleanse twice at night and once in the morning.
Is there any like particular brand or is there anything, I guess, ingredient wise or anything in particular that a good cleanser should have, for example?
I don't like foam cleansers, to be very honest with you.
Okay.
Even for people with oily skins or combination skins, I think the surfactants in there are just far too harsh. You don't need them. I prefer oil-based cleansers, balm-based cleansers, or cream-based cleansers. Just choose one with ingredients in it that are hydrating and have maybe essential oils such as tea tree, such as lavender, more cleansing essential oils, so you don't also break out. One thing I don't like are micellar water cleansers. And I know a lot of people use them because a micellar water is basically a surfactant, which is a detergent. It's a form of detergent. And you can use it to take away your makeup. That's fine. But follow with the second cleanse using another type of cleanser, not the micellar water. You want to get the micellar water off your skin to be properly cleansed. And that's a misconception a lot of people have. It's been marketed as being gentler for the skin, but I don't think it's very healthy or good to keep on the skin. So use it if you want as your first cleanse. Don't use it as your second cleanse. Use something to take that off.
Got it. Okay. Wow. You took me off my game here with the foam cleanser, because I actually use it's a very simple. It's like a gentle cleanser by Cetaphil. I don't know if you've heard of that brand, but it's the foamy kind. Yeah. I don't know, for whatever reason it works for me, but I'll definitely consider your advice as far as the because I have used oil-based cleansers before, and those have worked really well as well. Okay, so what were your other steps? You said you had mentioned the food, you mentioned the cleansers.
Good cleansing. I like fruit acids, and I don't believe in using them every day. Another misconception. People think if something is good, the more I use it or the more frequently I use it, the better it is. Not necessarily. Fruit acids, I think, should be used once or twice a week, and they have a cumulative effect. So the more you use it, the better your skin looks, which is great because that's what we want in a product. What you're looking for in a fruit acid, I usually go for a peel, just because it's easier to use once a week or twice a week. You want to have a combination of salicylic and glycolic together. And then if you can, lactic acid is great to have. Now, you do want a combination of beta hydroxy acids and alpha hydroxy acids. Lactic acid is a beta hydroxy acid. Glycolic acid is an alpha hydroxy acid. But glycolic acid is really important because it, out of all the acids, has the smallest size, so it tends to be very well absorbed and goes deeper with the skin. And even people with dry skin find fruit acids very beneficial because they actually increase with use the moisture levels or the hydration of your skin. And of course, they're good for cellular turnover, stimulates cell production. The one thing, again, that I don't like using, because a lot of people ask me, oh, okay, what about, physical exfoliants like April Kernel or
yeah. I was like,
okay, I'll let you ask me then.
I was like, scrubs. How bad are scrubs? Because I've
really
heard good things and I've heard bad things. Really
absolutely bad. Really bad. Yeah. I don't even for an 18-year-old. I think it's far too harsh for the skin. You don't need it. It exaggerates or exacerbates your symptoms. Say if you've got oily skin, by scrubbing too hard, it actually makes your oily skin worse. Your skin says, oh, I need to produce more oils. So, and I find that it makes pores look bigger. So I'm not a fan at all of physical exfoliants like these grains, even the jojoba beads. We have fruit acids. If you're sensitive to them, use a gentler lactic acid or just use yogurt. Use a bio-live yogurt, squeeze a little bit of lemon in it and just put it on your face. Now, because it's yogurt and it's natural, you might need to use that 3 times a week, like one day on, one day off, and just for 15 minutes. But do try an acid that works for you. Try many, because there are so many gentle ones on the market.
Now, as far, you also did a lot of talks and a lot of research on fasting. So how can fasting help everybody out there tap into health and just the natural benefits of fasting?
First off, I want to say that if you're going to fast for weight loss, don't do it. It really, for me, a lot of people, it is maybe, if you are lucky enough, it is maybe a good side effect from fasting, but I don't think that should be your main. If you go into it for weight loss, you're going to be disappointed, because fasting really is looking at longevity and looking at maybe stimulating your body into producing newer cells, or getting rid of the old and producing newer cells. Exactly. So fasting helps decrease the aging of the arteries. It helps, telomeres are like the caps of your DNA, and they get shorter as we age. But fasting actually either stops the telomeres getting shorter or actually lengthens them. Yeah. Another thing that fasting can do is increase or your stem cells. You have things called stem cells that usually are dormant unless your body needs, like, say, more liver cells or to make more, spleen cells. So then these stem cells kick into production. But it's not as simple as that. Yeah. But fasting sort of makes your stem cells sort of say, oh, it's time I produced new cells. And this was 20, 30 years ago, we used to think that brain aging and nerves could not be regenerated. That's it. Once they're gone, it's gone. But fasting actually regenerates even brain tissue and nerves. So now the next question I bet you're going to ask me is, okay, what's the best way to fast and how do you fast?
You know me well already.
The issue is honestly, we don't know. When people say fasting, some people mean water fasting, some people mean caloric restriction, and some people mean a dry fast, which is no water for about 16 hours. So we don't know what the best type of, or intermittent fasting, which is 16 hours fasting, 8 hours.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do right now.
And do you do it every day, or do you have a few days a week?
For example, I was on a Zoom call with my family. They're all over the world, but I basically, that ran late and I wasn't able to eat my last meal within a certain time. So now it's like I got to extend when I eat today. So all I've had today is just water and a cup of black coffee. I don't know how bad coffee is for your skin, or if you know, but I just try to do a 16-8 is what I essentially try to do.
So again, we don't know whether it's 16-8 or is it 24 or whether it's 15-7. We honestly don't know. But what I will say is, if it's working for you, keep at it, because everybody's different. If the 16-8 works for you, because 16-8 works for my husband very well. Okay. For me, I actually fast 1 month we have a fasting season called Ramadan, which is basically a dry fast, intermittent fast. So 16 hours, I am fasting without water. And then there's an 8-hour window where I'm eating as healthy as I can and rehydrating. And again, I go through that for a month. And I tend not to do a lot of fasting other than that, because I usually eat very healthy. But I find a lot of people, the intermittent 16/8 works for them, but if it doesn't work for you and you've tried it for a month, one day on, one day off, or twice or three times a week, you do something else. Try another, 15/7 or maybe 18 hours of fasting. So it doesn't work for everyone. And I think we still don't know exactly what it is. We just know that it's good for you. There are positive changes happening to your body. And it's like for me, I find it really difficult to restrict my calories for the rest of my life. I can't do, I'd rather fast on a few days and eat what I want to on the rest.
Agreed. That's easier for me as well. And just as a side note for everybody listening out there, I mean, in that 8-hour window, I imagine you're continuing to follow your diet as far as whole foods. I mean, you don't want to, eat a whole bunch of junk during those 8 hours, because essentially that's going to defeat the purpose of the fast. You're trying to get rid of all the bad and you renew with the good. So you talk a lot about natural healing. Like, can you just discuss a little bit more on how natural healing promotes the beauty from within side of us?
Absolutely. We touched upon, glucose and collagen cross-linking, right? And I'm not talking just about sugars. I'm talking about things that get converted into sugars very quickly, like anything, white carbs, white pasta, white bread, white rice, all that is not very good for the skin. Now, the skin, just like any organ, needs a lot of vitamins and minerals. And I get asked all the time, what is the vitamin we need for skin? Well, there is no one vitamin you need for skin, and there's no one supplement you should take. What you should be doing is getting all your vitamins and minerals from a multivitamin. Zinc is very important. Biotin is very important. Thiamine is very important. Pantothenic acid is very important. The B complex is very important. Selenium is very important. Vitamin D, vitamin C, all of those are important because while collagen, maybe one of the most important vitamins that collagen needs is vitamin C, and it needs it in good supply. But everything, even vitamin D, if that's missing, you've got dry, brittle hair and skin. So it just shows you the importance of having, or of how many nutrients the skin actually needs to be at its best. In this day and age of convenience food, processed foods, but also the fact that even if you were on this mythical perfect diet and you ate organic all the time, even organic food, you have to bring it from A to B to the supermarket. You're losing your vitamin C. Very few of us actually are lucky enough to have farm to table. Like we have a farm in our backyard and we're eating everything fresh.
Oh, wow.
So
amazing.
I don't know your opinion on multivitamins, but I think a multivitamin is needed for everyone in this day and age, just because of soil exhaustion. And I know some doctors are pro, some doctors aren't, but I think it's just good insurance. And the fact is that we really aren't getting enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like it's good insurance, like you said. I mean, I do believe that those nutritional gaps exist, especially in America with a SAD diet, standard American diet, which is horrible. And, we're just not getting enough of the nutrients. Not an ideal world. I feel everything should come from our food, but, that sometimes just isn't feasible. So I think, yes, supplementing with vitamins would be a good call. Now, you mentioned collagen. Obviously, that's a big component of the skin. What do you feel about collagen supplements? Because that's like all the rage nowadays. The bone broth and the collagen and the bone broth protein. What do you think of that?
Well, I have to say, collagen in a skincare product, forget about it. It's just a ploy. The collagen molecule is far too big to penetrate. Forget that. Collagen internally, I actually take it myself. I take collagen hydrolysate, about a tablespoon every day. And I find that, yes, it does make a difference to your skin. Now, this is not a study, but I have seen, I have lifelong vegan friends, lifelong vegans who are now in their 70s. And they're very healthy, they're very slim. However, their skin is very wrinkled.
Really?
So I attribute that to actually the lack of collagen, because there are no known vegetable sources of collagen. Now, again, some people say, we can ingest the building blocks of collagen from various plant sources. And yes, it does make sense, but I haven't seen that I just haven't seen it. So let's see, because being vegan is a fairly new thing for a lot of people. It's only maybe 20 years old, if at all. So let's see 50 years down the line of a true vegan who's never eaten anything from animals, whether her skin or his skin has suffered because of the lack of, they are healthy, all the blood work and everything is healthy, but just to see them, there's a lot of
the evidence is there. Yeah, the evidence is there. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I have a lot of vegan people who follow me on social media, and they're like, "What can we do?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just make sure you're eating enough vitamin C and enough amino acids from. You have to combine, because animal and maybe soy is a complete, or has all the essential amino acids, but the rest, the rest of the vegetable sources of protein, you have to sort of combine. So I'm not against a vegan diet. I just think that it's important, especially for younger people who are doing it for health reasons.
Yeah.
They know that it's not necessarily the healthiest thing around, because a vegan diet is missing on a few, or misses out, or you don't have enough of a few important minerals and vitamins. So if it was the best diet to have, it would have provided you with everything you would need. So that's my take on collagen. I actually do like it. Make sure you get it from grass-fed organic beef. Now, grass-fed is, I don't think dairy's bad. I don't think meat is bad. I just think that over the decades, the way we've been processing and treating animals and treating our food supply is horrendous. And that's why we have the issues with gluten. I don't think wheat itself is a bad thing. I think just so much gluten was added to bread to help it rise faster, right? Because time is money, that now we have an issue with gluten, where only really before we'd see it in celiacs who had a true allergy to gluten. So
I couldn't agree with you more. Now, you've also did a lot of studying and a lot of studies on alternative therapies in all over the world, basically. Can you because what I love doing with my platform is bringing, new studies and new things that are on the market related to health, and, just bring it to somebody that maybe didn't know about it, and, they could benefit from it. So what kind of alternative therapies, had you studied, when you talked about it?
Well, I've done it for 20 years, and now I'm doing my fellowship in integrative medicine, but I am a NP, a naturopathic practitioner. So I've studied Western herbology, aromatherapy, homeopathy. I've also done Ayurveda, and I've studied Ayurveda. I go to India at least once a year.
Oh, wow.
And I also look into our own traditional healing modalities from the Middle East, and also from traditional Chinese medicine. So I really do look at everything, and I'm still learning, Doctor, I'm still, and I love that. No one knows everything. And you can't possibly be an encyclopedia. So if I can, and I think that's what you asked me to do you want some little tips and tricks of things maybe you should do or you didn't know you shouldn't be doing? Like honey, for instance. I come from a culture where honey was the best natural remedy, and whenever we had a sore throat, my mom would do ginger and put a little bit of hot honey or honey and mix it with boiling water.
Lemon.
It's the worst. Yeah, it's the worst thing actually.
Oh.
In Ayurveda, they believe that you should use honey, but never in boiling water. So if you are going to have the ginger and honey drink for your sore throat, put the honey in when it's body temperature. So you put your little finger in and it doesn't scald you. You can put your honey in, and then it doesn't become a toxin. They believe that the boiling water, the very hot water, changes the composition of honey and turns it from a healing substance to a toxic substance. Now, this comes as a shock to everyone, because even in the Western, in the Western world, you know, it's like, oh, here you go with some honey with hot water. Oh, you're going to feel so much better. It's like, in Ayurveda, is like, toxin, don't do it.
Wow.
So that's number one. Number two, turmeric, I think. We are under inflammation. Even if you don't feel inflamed, there is inflammation going on in your body. You know, everything's polluted. We are living in a toxic environment. And this is the reality of it. We can't, at least I can't go and live in the middle of the woods, and it just doesn't work that way. So why don't we try and add things, knowing now what we know? Why don't we add supplements or herbs or natural remedies into our life that sort of negate the negative effects of our lifestyle?
Absolutely.
And I think turmeric is very good at that. And I don't agree with people when they say, oh, if you don't take like 6 supplements per day, it's not doing very much. Now, unless you have cancer, unless you have a particular disease that calls for that amount of turmeric, a quarter a day or a quarter teaspoon a day of turmeric is good enough. And you can put it in your soups, in your food, or just in whatever milk, either dairy milk or nut milk that you have, and make a turmeric latte. And the easiest thing is turmeric and your milk, let it boil for about, or simmer for about 10 minutes. And you can add a little bit of black pepper to it. You can add nutmeg, cinnamon, you know, make it like a chai. Yogi tea have a very nice chai rooibos, which is caffeine free, and it tastes like a really good chai, like the ones I have in India. And I add that with a little bit of turmeric to my milk, and I boil it, and my kids love it.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So we got, as far as top 3 foods for skin health, you got honey, you have turmeric, which I absolutely love those. I actually have some raw organic honey in my fridge right now. And I believe we have some turmeric capsules as well. What would you say? Give me like a third one for people out there. You know, it's a must-have as far as food.
Okay, food. Can we talk about tea? Because I think that we need to do, or we need to do more with helping our liver. So I like a liver detoxifier, or, you know, in Western herbalism, it is called a detoxifier, but it really supports, let's call it supporting the liver, because I know doctors don't like to say things like detox. So let's call it a liver support. And and what it is dandelion leaf and root together.
Burdock.
And you can have it. Burdock is great, dandelion and stinging nettle. Now, if you can have those 3 together, that's amazing. Dandelion also supports your kidneys, which is also an organ of elimination and is under a lot of stress because of all the things it needs to eliminate because of what we eat and what we breathe in. So I think just to support that will also help you get glowing skin. I have so many people who follow me on social media and are doing the stinging nettle tea, and say, well, our acne has subsided. It's because, yes, your liver is finally working properly. You're supporting it. Our bodies are wonderful machines. And how do you take these herbal teas? Well, the way you're supposed to take it is to do it and not gulp it all at once, is to have 1 sip every 15 minutes. Now, I don't remember to do that. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, have it throughout the day. Don't just gulp it. But if you need to just gulp it there and then because you forgot, go ahead and do it. Something is better than nothing. But this is how you're supposed to take it.
Or could we have maybe like 2-3 cups a day? And then, because I don't know if I have time to sip it all day, but at the same time, you know, maybe 2-3 cups. So that's very interesting. I'm actually going to go get some tea after this. So would you suggest, I guess my first question is, would you suggest maybe a tea in the mornings, you know, to uplift you, maybe like a black tea over, let's say, coffee? And also, to recap, dandelion, burdock root, and stinging nettle, do all those come like in a combo tea, or do you have to buy them?
No, I think I should start making these teas, honestly, because I haven't seen it. I just put it all together. You don't have to be very specific to, how much of each. The beautiful thing about herbs, and I see herbs as food, really. We call them herbs, but they really are foods. The beauty about herbs and food is that there is no combination. Whatever works, your body will take what it needs, and it will go to where it has. Plants have this innate intelligence. So, just like with turmeric, just like with spinach, it's like, you will take as much iron as you need. And it's funny because when your iron levels are low, you tend to extract more naturally, although the tests will tell you that, you can only get X amount of, say, iron or calcium or whatever from your spinach. But I believe that when you need more, your body tends to extract more from it.
Absolutely. So let's give the audience some value here. What are 3 beauty mistakes that people commit that is basically hyped, let's say, in the media as being beneficial, and you say, no, no, no?
Using fruit acids or any type of acids or exfoliants on your skin every day. I see so many people, especially teenagers and beauty influencers, just putting very harsh levels of acids on their face every day and then saying, look how much my skin glows. Yes, for the short term. But what you're doing is you're thinning out your skin, and that's the opposite of what you want to achieve. You want to have nice, thick, elastic skin. So 5 years down the line, you will see that you've got deeper wrinkles, more pigmentation, because you've thinned out your skin so much and you've inflamed it consistently so much that even a little bit of sunshine is going to create havoc on your skin. So that's beauty thing number one, or beauty mistake number one, using acids or exfoliating your skin every day. Number two, and we touched upon that, is micellar water. Everyone says, oh, water is bad for you, don't wash your face. I love washing my face. There's nothing wrong with water. Use micellar water if you want to take away your makeup, but don't think that should be the last thing on your skin before you use your moisturizers. Another thing, and I think the third one, more people are really getting their head around it, is facial oils are okay even for people with oily skin, because the more you dry out oily skin, the more there is like a rebound effect, and your skin, which is a very intelligent organ, says to your brain, you know what, my skin's constantly, I'm constantly dry, let me produce more oil, and you produce more oil. So something like witch hazel is not something I really like for oily combination skins, although a lot of people, that's the one thing they use. I would say don't just use an oil that was formulated for your skin. I just recently formulated an oil with linolenic, or with a high concentration of linolenic oils, because studies have shown that the difference sometimes between oily skins and dry skins is the fact that oily skins don't have enough linolenic fatty acids in the sebum that they produce. And so I formulated this oil, and people use it. It was one person I remember, he said to me, I use witch hazel and I still get, the T-zone. I said, well, use this oil and see. He goes, oil? I said, forget the witch hazel and use this oil. 2 weeks later, he says to me, it's gone. My skin is back to normal. Because you have to
balances
treat
it, doesn't
skin.
it?
It does, exactly. It does. You have to treat it like sensitive skin. People are way too harsh with oily skins. I find they're just way too harsh.
And what about, let's say, 3 beauty secrets or remedies out there that, quote unquote, they don't want us to know about? For example, all these expensive creams, women are out there buying $500 creams and whatnot. Like, is there something that, those companies don't want us to know, that, hey, look, you could have the same effect, at a fraction of the cost, or things like that, like remedies or secrets, natural beauty secrets? What would you say?
I would actually say that these 7-step beauty
routines,
nighttime routines that people do, you don't need 7 steps. You need 2 or 3 steps using 2 or 3 really good products. And if you're gonna save on something, there are very good mid-market to pharmacy brands for cleansing out there. And I would spend on a good acid peel, and I would spend on a good moisturizer that has everything: antioxidants, fatty acids, marine extracts. Because I'll tell you something, I know that dermatologists usually say, except the people who have their own beauty products, they usually say, oh, anything works, don't worry, nothing that you put on your skin is really going to make a difference. It actually does. I'm in my mid-40s, and people who used to use pharmacy brands don't look as good as I do. Or people who've used even not natural brands, but a little bit more expensive, just because you do get what you pay for, but you don't need to pay $500 for that. That's number one. Number two, you are what you eat. I know people who use no creams whatsoever, but eat really healthy. Berries, lots of fresh fruit, lots of vegetables, and oh my goodness, their skin is amazing. So you're what you are, what you eat, and your skin is what you eat. And even with the best creams that I have, if I don't eat well, it's going to show on my face. So berries, omega-3, where can we find omega-3? Flax seeds, salmon, herring, mackerel, fish, exactly. Berries, omega-3, beta carotene. Why are we so afraid of mangoes and oranges and carrots? You know, beta carotene is amazing for skin. So berries, you want beta carotene, anything orange, and also omega-3.
Awesome. And are there any ingredients that we should look out for on skincare products that, you know, we should stay away from potentially? For example, like I know sunscreen is a big topic. You know, there's sunscreen that's the chemical version, and then there's sunscreen that's the mineral version. I've been told by tons of dermatologists that, you know, always go with the mineral, the zinc oxide, the titanium dioxide, rather than the avobenzone and all the chemical ones, just because, you know, whether they cause cancer or whatnot, you know, it's just not good for you. And then let's maybe discuss a little bit about, you know, how important vitamin D is, you know, as far as skin health and all that.
I've been using sunscreen since I was 13 years old. So I think it's really important in terms of aging and in terms of, you know, helping maybe reverse or stop the sun's rays that cause aging to get to you. Now, there are, you know, the sun has a lot of frequencies, you know, it emits a lot of frequencies, and one of the frequencies does cause aging. And honestly, I think that chemical sunscreen should be really outlawed, or it should say very specifically, this is a chemical sunscreen, because I don't recommend it at all. Mineral sunscreens are the way to go. I don't know if I'm allowed to say brands I like.
Sure, if you want, it's up to you.
Yeah, I have nothing, you know, to do with this company, Elta MD, but I love it as a sunscreen because you want something that's comfortable to use every day. And I find a lot of my clients and, you know, the people who follow me like to use that as well, and love that recommendation. Try and use something that's unperfumed. I don't like sunscreen with perfume on it. But let's talk about also, like you said, the importance of vitamin D. I have been avoiding the sun for so many years, and I got so many issues. And I think because of that, because my vitamin D levels were so low, and only now we're beginning to realize that we've created, with demonizing the sun and just hiding away from the sun, we've created, even our kids are like, you know, no, you have to have sunscreen, you have to have a rash guard, you have to have this. We've created a whole generation or two, you know, it's my generation, the generation below me, maybe 3 generations of even children with low levels of vitamin D. And doctors and dermatologists especially are like, oh, but take a supplement. And we just said, natural is better, food first. And I think it should also be sun first as well. 15 minutes, 1-5 of sun, I don't call it sun tanning, I call it getting some sun rays on your skin, wear a bikini or at least expose all your arms, all your legs of the sun is actually healthy for you, not just for vitamin D, but for a lot of other things that we don't even know or haven't discovered yet. So if you want to protect yourself from aging, what I would say is cover your face and neck. Use sunscreen if you want, or cover it with a hat and sit in the sun, exposing your legs and your arms without sunscreen. 15 minutes a day, or at least 3 times a day. Your children, you, everything. You're not going to get burned from it.
No.
The equation is a quarter of the time that it takes you to get burnt. So if you get burnt in, say, 30 minutes, why did I use 30? 40 minutes, it's easier. If you get burnt in 40 minutes, 10 minutes, you stay for 10 minutes. So I think it's really important because vitamin D, it's not just for calcium, but it is, so many, over, I think, 20,000 cells in our body
like a
have vitamin
hormone.
D receptors. Exactly. And it's meant, and it heals a lot of things, including stress. And that's maybe something we didn't touch upon, and I forgot to mention. Stress. Your skincare should also have something that helps you deal with stress. And the easiest way is to use aromatherapy for that, like calming chamomile or a lavender essential oil, because stress is not only causing intrinsic aging or giving us chronic conditions, but it's also causing aging or skin aging as well. And you can't complete a skincare regimen without talking about stress. So if you want, have some lavender essential oil around, or meditate, yoga. There are meditation apps for free nowadays. So this is also really important to talk about when we talk about glowing skin, because stress makes it increases the pro-oxidants, say, in your body and in your skin. So that's another thing maybe worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, and especially now, obviously, with the whole COVID crisis. I mean, there's a lot of stress going on, and with the quarantine, everybody was, huddled inside and, away from the sun. And like you said, I think people sometimes can't differentiate. It's like, just get the 15 minutes, just get what you need. All the cancer and all that stuff that comes from overexposure, not from those little short bursts that you're actually getting that beneficial vitamin D. I think you've just given so much great advice today, doctor. Thank you so much for coming on. Like, let people know where they could find your work, maybe social media handles, whatever you got going on right now. I want you to promote yourself a little bit.
Sure, thank you. The best way to find me is to follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Shifa Beauty, SHIFFA Beauty. And there, especially with my Instagram stories, I like giving you, okay, this is what I eat. This is what I'm doing now. This is how, my latest one was how to clean your yoga mat, because during COVID, everyone's using their yoga mat. I also have a skincare line called Shifa, which is an organic and natural skincare line. We're in Nordstrom's and Bloomingdale's online. And I just recently launched a supplement company with only one product. It's very recent. It's a multivitamin liquid with 98% absorbability, because we're using multivitamins, but are we really absorbing it? So I launched that, and it's on Sephora.com or thedlmd.com. So thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to be on your show.
Yes, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
All right, take care.